Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And I highly encourage you to have your math workbook open and a pencil ready because I'm going to be kind of going through, I think, 2 problems for each page that is assigned to you. Anything you don't get done today in math class will be homework. So make sure you're doing your best. And as I'm going to be going through some problems with you, you should probably follow along in your workbook so that you don't have to do it later. You can do it with me. Your assignment today it's 4 pages, which seems like a lot, but like I mentioned, quite a few of them we're doing together. So it's not that much. It's page 407, page 408, page 409, and page 411. That's 4 pages. Let's first get you open to page 407, which we see right here. Yes, we do. Problem number 1. Is that going to work? Let's see. Let's go purple since my Princess Jillian is homesick and purple's her favorite color. For number 1, it says Nora takes 3 nuggets of gold to be weighed. One weighs 1 and 1800ths grams. That's a little bit more than 1 gram. Another weighs 765 thousandths of a gram, which is a little bit less than 1 gram. So altogether, we've got about 2 grams now. And the third weighs 1 and 295 thousandths of a gram, which is a little bit more than 1 gram. So again, we've got a little bit more. It's about 3 grams or so, maybe a little bit more. What is the total weight? Now, I know whenever it says what is the total weight, it's probably going to be adding those 3 together. Again, I estimated that's about 1. That's a little bit less than 1. That's a little bit more than 1. I bet altogether it's going to be about 3. That's my estimate. All right, so let's do this together. So follow along. We know when you add, when you subtract, you line up our decimals. Just line them up. Hey, your decimals, right? So we got 1 and 1800ths of a gram. We got 0 and 765 thousandths of a gram. We've got 1 and 295 thousandths of a gram. I want to make sure that each of these numbers have the same number of digits in it. So I'm going to put a placeholder, a 0 in the thousandths place here. Now I'm going to add all 3. I'm going to line up my decimals, which I've done. I'm going to drop my decimal down, drop it like it's hot. I'm going to add the thousandths digits. 0 plus 5 plus 5 is 10 thousandths, which is really 1/100th. 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 6 is 15, and 15 plus 9 is 24. We're getting a lot of great Facebook posts there. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 7 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. Decimals there. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So we've got 3 and 240 thousandths of a gram. I estimated it'd be close to 3, and it's a little bit more than 3. So we could call it 3 and 24 hundredths grams, or you could say 3 and 240 thousandths of a gram. Both of those answers are correct. Feel free to pause it here and make sure you get all that work shown and your work on your workbook. Let's skip down to number 3. Let's go to number 3. No, let's go to number 2. Number 2, it says on Monday, Mercedes runs 2 and 25 hundredths. That's about 2 and a quarter, right? Miles. It's on Monday. And on Wednesday, she runs 1 and 78 hundredths miles. That's less than 2 miles. So Monday was a little bit more than 2. Wednesday was a little bit less than 2. So Monday was more. How much farther does she run on Monday than on Wednesday? Anytime we're comparing how much more one is than the other, we're subtracting. We know Monday has got to be more because it's more than 2. Wednesday is less because it's less than 2. I bet the difference is less than 1, so my estimate would be something less than 1 whole. Well, I know when I subtract, I want my bigger number on top. So I'm going to first line up my decimals. Always line up your decimals. Just line them up. Hey, your decimals. So the bigger number is 2 and 25 hundredths, more than 2. The smaller is less than 2, 1 and 78 hundredths of a mile. Let's subtract it first. Let's drop the decimal down so I don't forget to do that later. 5 take away 8, I'm going to need to regroup. 15 take away 8 is 7 hundredths. Now I've got 1/10 take 7/10 away. I can't do that, so I'm going to borrow from 1 whole. I'm going to add 10/10 to 1/10. So now I have 11/10. And 11/10 take away 7/10 is 4/10. And 1 whole take away 1 whole is 0 wholes. So I've got 47 hundredths, which is a little bit less than 1/2, because 5/10 is 1/2. 47 hundredths is 3 hundredths away from a half. So it turns out she ran about 47 hundredths, which is a little bit less than a half of a mile more on Monday than she did on Wednesday. Okay? That was close to my estimate. My estimate was less than 1 whole, which I've got less than 1 whole. So hopefully that helps you with that page. And let's go to the next page. Okay, so here it says, in the finals of the men's 100-meter butterfly, the 2015 Winter National Championships, the swimmers had these times for each 50 meters of the race. Find the time it took them to swim the 100 meters. Show your work on another piece of paper. Okay, so Tom Shields, his first 50 meters were 24 and 9 hundredths of a second. His second 50 meters were 27 and 32 hundredths of a second. So to find the total, I'm going to add those two, right? So Tom, Mr. Tom, I'm going to line up my decimals. I always do that first. We got 24 and 9 hundredths of a second for the first 50. We got 27 and 32 hundredths for the second 50. So altogether, a little bit more than 24 plus a little bit more than 27 is going to be close to 50, right? Because 4 plus 7 is 11. It's going to be about 51, a little bit more than 51 seconds. Let's add and find out. First, I'm going to drop my decimal like it's hot. 9 plus 2 is 11. Regroup. 41. 4 plus 7 is 11. Regroup. We got 5. So 51 and 41 hundredths of a second. So I'm going to do that for Santo, for Luis, and for Michael Phelps. Then I'm going to place them in order from least to greatest. Remember, first place is the smallest time. In swimming, you want to be the fastest, right? Second place will be the second fastest. Third place will be the third fastest. And fourth place will be the slowest time, the biggest time, right? So you'll order them from least to greatest. You'll line up your decimals, and you'll compare least to greatest. And then for number 7 over here, it says, how much faster was the first place swimmer than the fourth place swimmer? We're going to subtract. You'll take whoever came in fourth, the bigger number, the biggest number, and you'll subtract the smallest number, the first place finisher. And whatever that difference is, that's going to be your answer for number 7. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see what's next. Then for page 409, it says, In the finals of the women's 100-meter butterfly at the 2015 Winter National Championships, the swimmers had these times for each 50 meters of the race. Find the time it took them to swim the 100 meters. Show your work on another piece of paper. So it's the same thing, right? You're going to be adding the first 50 meters plus the second 50 meters to get the total. You'll do that for Dana, Noemi, Kendall, and Claire. Then you're going to order those 4 times from least to greatest. Again, remember, the fastest time comes in first. That's the smallest time, right? And then again, for number 10, we want to place them, find the fastest, the difference between first place and fourth place. You'll subtract the biggest number minus the smallest number. That'll tell us how much more one is greater than the other, right? That's easy. So let's do Dana's. So Dana's first 50 meters was 27 and 67/100ths of a second. That's a little bit more than 27 seconds. Line up my decimals. I forgot to do that first. Her second was 30 and 28/100ths of a second, right? So 27 plus 30 is 57. My answer is a little bit more than 57 seconds. Drop it down. 7 plus 8 is 15. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 2 is 9. 7 plus 0 is 7, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So we've got 57 and 95/100ths of a second. So that's the total right over here. I'll do the same thing for the other swimmers, and then I'm going to order them from least to greatest. And remember, when we order from least to greatest, we want to line up our decimals and then compare smallest, second smallest, third, and fourth. The smallest number wins. The biggest number is fourth place. And for question 10, subtract the biggest minus the smallest to find the difference. You can do that. And lastly, for your homework, on page 411, and of course, all 4 of these pages are homework if we don't get it done, so you want to really work hard, okay? Let's do number 1 and number 2 together. This will help you, so you have less to do tonight. It says, Joshua went grocery shopping. He bought 3 24/100ths, so it's a little bit less than 3 1/4, but more than 3 pounds of onions, 2 1/10 pounds of peppers, it's a little bit more than 2 pounds, and 5 2/10 pounds of potatoes, again, a little bit more than 5 pounds. How many pounds of vegetables did he buy in total? So we're not subtracting, we're adding here. So that's a little bit more than 3, plus a little bit more than 2, so that's a little bit more than 5 altogether, plus a little bit more than 5. So we should have about 10, a little bit more than 10, maybe 11, I don't know, 10 and a half. Let's find out. Let's line up our decimals. Easy cheesy. We got 3 24/100ths. That's pounds of onions. We got 2 1/10 pounds of peppers and 5 2/10 pounds of potatoes. We want to have a placeholder 0 in the hundredths place. Drop the decimal down, drop it like it's hot. 4 plus nothing is 4. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Drop it down. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 5 is 10. We got about 10 and a half pounds. 10 54/100ths is a little bit more than 10 and a half pounds. So get that answer in for number 1, guys. Come on now, let's do that. Feel free to pause it if you need to pause it. Okay. Then we get number 2. For number 2, we got Mercedes, who ran 6 35/100ths miles on Saturday. She ran 5 17/100ths miles on Sunday. So on Saturday, she ran a little bit more than 6 miles. On Sunday, she ran a little bit more than 5 miles. How much more did she run on Saturday than on Sunday? We're trying to find the difference. So when you find the difference, do you add or subtract, guys? What do you think? You subtract. A little bit more than 6 minus a little bit more than 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. The answer is going to be about 1, right? Let's find out the difference by lining up our decimals. We got 6 and 35/100ths. Take away 5 and 17/100ths. We're going to subtract. Line up your decimals, drop it like it's hot so you don't forget to do that later. 5 minus 7, we can't do that. So we regroup. 15 minus 7 is 8. 2 minus 1 is 1. Drop it like it's hot. 6 minus 5 is 1. The difference is a little bit more than 1 second. It's 1, was it seconds or miles? Miles. A little bit more than 1 mile. 1 and 18 hundredths miles. All right, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful. Use it and work hard independently. If you get it all done, you can work on some Dreambox. All right, guys. Go for it.